today. For some reason, it didn't let me go live on the class Facebook group. It was like, it doesn't have the class option for some reason. I have no idea why it like disappeared. So I'm going to look at
Did
that
you?
afterward. What, Ashley?
Yeah, I recently had to like revalidate one of my groups and to make sure that like
Yeah.
it shows that you as Anna are a admin, not
Yeah.
just your page or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's okay because I'm going to record this and it'll be on the membership site and we'll make sure it gets to everyone who's also in the 2024 planning workshop, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about 2024 business planning specifically. And then I had a great question come in from Jessica. So I see, Jessica, you are here today. So we're going to tie that into 2024 business planning. You guys know I love talking about planning. Yes. So I'm going to go over the 2024 business planning and then we're going to tie in your question at the end. And it's going to like, I know your question was long, so I took little pieces of it because it ties in so well to annual planning and just, it's all about the plan, right? Like we get so overwhelmed about all the little stuff, but when we kind of create the plan and execute the plan, I think you're going to feel great, Jessica, and everyone else who kind of feels overwhelmed about the next year. So let's first start by sharing. Let me share with you guys our Google Doc for today that has the checklist that I created. So that's now in the comments and I'm going to share my screen as well. So if you just want to watch the screen and kind of take in everything that we're going to talk about today and everything that we're going to kind of go through. And
Hi,
then
my name is Sherry. How can I help you today?
Sherry. Hi, Sherry. Let me make sure. Okay. So I'm going to go through this and then at the end we'll take questions and we'll see how it goes too. We'll answer questions as we go too. But most importantly, make sure you save the date because everyone here is invited to our 2024 planning workshop. So that is going to be December 5th at 8 a.m. Pacific. So make sure that you save the date for that if you can make it. If you can't, of course, you'll have access to the recording. And on that live at the end too, we're going to do for all of our class members here. I have some upgrade announcements that I'm going to be sharing at the end of the planning workshop as well. It's going to be a 90-minute planning workshop, and I'm probably going to do Q&A at the end as well. So it's a big event. This is 2024 planning. So carve out that time, be there if you can, or just carve out the time to watch the recording because we'll have the recording available afterward. And then that whole week, we're going to have coaching week. So it's going to be plan reviews. You guys know I love reviewing plans. So we're going to do your annual plan on the planning workshop. And then I'm going to actually review all of your plans after that workshop as well, answer questions, do a lot of some coaching like we're going to do at the end of today's call as well. And so I have the link on this document to just make sure you join that Facebook group because for that week, we haven't opened it yet. So I know if you've already requested access and I haven't approved you, it's because it's not open yet. It will be open on December 3rd. It's going to be open for that week. And we're going to go all in on 2024 planning. So I'm super excited. And what we're going to do today, we're going to walk through business planning. And so I'm going to walk you behind the scenes, how I plan out my business for the year, everything I've already done to plan out my content, my launches, my marketing, and my fulfillment for 2024. It's so important to get started planning early so you can create the best possible plan and not feel stressed. So every year I'm always like October, sometimes it's even September, but it wasn't this year. So it wasn't September this year, but definitely October, I'm starting to plan out the best way that I can. If you guys have any questions, you can post them. I will look at the questions, obviously, as we're going and more so at the end, but post them because I'll be able to see them. So if there's something that comes to your mind, and then also, you guys know, we have an incredible community. So there's other coaches and other, support people in the comments too. So you can ask there. By the way, if you are a certified career coach, I don't know if you can do this, Ashley, can you change your name so it says certified career coach so people kind of know that you're CCG certified too? Because I know that we have some of our certified coaches, and Nicole, I see you here too. That way they know that you know what you're talking about because you're one of our certified career coaches too. Okay, but definitely ask, communicate in the chat as well too. And let's get started. So, super excited. So 2024 planning workshop, that's going to be December 5th. That's going to be, we're going to actually create your annual plan. Today, we're going to just specifically zero in on business planning. So if you are in corporate rescue plan, if you have a side hustle, if you want to start a business, if you have a business, if you want to grow a business, scale a business, any of that in 2024, that's what we're going to be specifically talking about. Let me fix my misspelling because you guys know I can't, we got to correct that on the fly. Okay. So this is our annual business planning checklist. So a lot of this today, it's really just behind the scenes. I created this checklist this morning as the kids were running around, and life is a little crazy right now, but I created this today. It's kind of my process for planning the year ahead. So like I said, in Q4, these are kind of the recommended tasks I take to prepare for my business for the next year. And a lot of this, you guys also have to remember, is I've been in business for, let's see, over 10 years now, almost 12. So this is coming from practice, right? So if you're just getting started, if you're have a side hustle, if you have a lot of things going, don't feel like you need to do all of these things. But I think that this will give you a good idea of how, as an entrepreneur, you can really get ahead so you're not stressed and unorganized and feeling like you're behind once January 1st hits. And it's also going to help you reach a lot of the goals that you have for your business as well too. So thanks, Ashley. Yeah, Ashley said how to change your name. Okay, so now we know, oh, Emerly's here too. Okay, so so you guys know now who our certified career coaches are. Okay, so here's the process that I take when it comes to planning out my year. The first thing I always do, because things change every year for your business. And so every year, there's always, obviously there's social media changes. Obviously, there's changes in my life that make me need to make some sort of changes to my business model. I look back all the time. That's the first page in our planner, right? The looking back page. So I look back and see what worked, what didn't work. So I always go back to the basics, to our one-page business plan and corporate rescue plan inside of our class membership every single year to kind of reanalyze those 5 key things in your business. What motivates you? So again, we're going into another year. What is my motivation this year for my business? Who is my ideal client? Sometimes we do this in the very beginning of starting our business, and then we don't do it again. Or maybe you have a new product this year and you kind of have to rethink, your business plan, who your ideal client is, what that problem is that you're solving. I did this in October, kind of just went through all of these questions again, just getting back into the mindset of my client, getting back into the problems that they're having. This is going to help us with planning content for the year. And then getting back to my promotion plan. We're going to talk about this a lot today, marketing and promotion. So getting back to over this last year, what worked for marketing, what worked for social media, and going into 2024, what is my focus going to be? Because if you've heard me talk about entrepreneurship at all, I recommend focusing on that one main social media platform. And then if you have time, we can produce content on other social media sites, but we want to focus on that one main social media platform. And for me, every year this does change. In the past, it's been Facebook groups. In the past, it's been Pinterest. This year it's in 2023, it's been Instagram. I've been all in on Instagram. I don't miss a day on Instagram. And that's what we want to do. We want to find the social media platform where we're not going to miss a day. We're going to go all in. We're going to learn about it. We're going to grow on it. We're going to find our people on it. And that changes every year. So that's why that's a really important question to kind of think about what that one social media platform is going to be for the year. So you're not feeling like you're all over the place. And then you can stick with it, right? That's part of planning, is we create a plan, we stick with it. And we can reanalyze, every 90 days as well too, but this is kind of the plan for the beginning of the year. And then how many clients and sales do you need each month to reach your goal? So this is something that's really important as you go through your year. You always want to know what your revenue goals are going to be for the month and how many clients and sales that you need to make. And we'll go through this in depth. I go through this in depth myself when I plan out the year, but this is a very simple question and a lot of entrepreneurs lose sight of this. And then by the end of the month, they're looking at their sales and their revenue and they're like, I didn't make my goals, or, I don't have no profit, or I'm not able to pay myself, or I'm not at the income that I want to be. And I want you to be ahead of that, right? I don't want you to be behind looking at what I should, I'm not at my income level, but we can plan in the beginning of the month and the beginning of the year to know how many clients, how many sales we need to make. So very basic, that's our very basic one-page business plan. If you're inside of class membership, phase 2 is where we have our whole business planning class. So I linked that there for you. I also every year update my marketing plan, another very simple one-page marketing plan from Corporate Rescue Plan. This is really important for the new year because this has changed for me. Every single year this changes. So before we go into the year, we want to know what are those main products or services that we're going to offer. And so we know back in the last business plan, we know how many clients and sales we need, right? And so I'll talk about this. I have another spreadsheet for this to kind of make this a little bit clear. But before you go into that year, we want to know for me, it's certification, membership, and a digital product, like the planning workshop. I have 3 things and that is it. And if you guys have been around a while, in the past, I've had 50 things. Ashley's nodding her head. And so as we're going into the year, we're streamlining, right? I did this last month. I looked at all my numbers. I looked at all my sales. I looked at what's working, what I'm enjoying the most, right? And gotten really focused. There's been a lot of iterations. John and I, at one point, we had 6 things, and there's been a lot of adding, and then we kind of talk about it a little bit more, and we really focus. And right as of now, those are those 3 main things. And you want to have one main core offer, and then you can have I would say our class membership is my core offer. The planning workshop would be, that initial digital product that I have that maybe someone buys initially to start to learn more about me and what I do. We have the membership, and then I have career coach certification, right? And that would be my high level VIP option, right? Where you can learn how to be a career coach and to coach people through this process. So what are those products you're gonna sell for 2024? What amazing free stuff can you provide that gives a ton of value to your audience? Free content, podcasts, blog posts, videos, Facebook lives. How will people discover you? How will you turn those leads into prospects and obtain their contact information? All this stuff we're going to build in 2024, right? But at the beginning of every year, I always go back to my business plan. I always go back to my marketing plan because we can't plan out the year if we don't have the business and marketing plan. And so even if you don't know exactly all of these things, we can add that into your plan, right? If you don't know where your leads are going to be, if you don't have a social media marketing plan, that's not a big deal. We're going to just add that into our plan. So this kind of helps give you kind of the template of where you need to be focusing for the year. And then how will you turn interested prospects into customers? So that could be your email list. For me, it's the free 90-day planner, right? Or any of my free lead magnets that I'm posting about on social media. So those are the basics. Those are less annual planning, but those are more really just foundational every single year because things change, your business model changes. A couple of years ago when we added, there's a mosquito flying around. A couple of years ago when we added career coach certification, well, that changed everything, right? That was, it's one of the best things I did, but it also blew up everything I already had, right? Because it was this whole new product that added so much more time and work. And so I had to really figure out how does that fit into the other things I offer and the other products. So now I have products that I'm not adding anything new this year, right? It's all just the same things I sold last year, but doing them better and more organized. And so you may have a year where you're selling new things, but either way, it's figuring out what those things are going to be for the year. So does anyone have any questions so far on just creating your business, on the business plan and the marketing plan? Ashley's coming in with the really good, important tips as well. Keep in mind that it takes at least 6 months of consistency to master something, be that your offer, your social media platform, your conversion system. Exactly. It could even be longer than that as well. And that actually, good point, because this is why we redo our 90-day plans every 90 days, right? If Instagram suddenly tanks in February, I will be changing that for the next, 90-day plans. You should always be doing client research, preaching to myself here in all transparency. Yes, because that's going to help us with our content and social media. Okay, so those are the foundational pieces that you want to have for your business, and you want to just kind of look back at them on an annual basis. So let's get to the annual planning then, the fun stuff, right? So one thing that I do every single year, and I've actually, I've already looked at that. It's funny, I have a call with our bookkeeper right after this to go over our projected monthly forecast for 2024 as well. So this is definitely something that we do, is our monthly forecast. And this is the first thing I do every year. This is our template example. This is specifically for career coaches that we use in our career coach certification program, but you can use this any type of product or anything that you sell. We want to see, I'm gonna move to the 3 product one, because I know a lot of you guys are like me and you have let's just say you have 3 products that you're selling. So what you would do here, and by the way, you should be able to access all of this, just create a copy, and then you should be able to edit this yourself. But what I like to do is I like to have a goal for my monthly recurring revenue. So a lot of you guys have that goal of growing your revenue in 2024, quitting your day job. And if that's your goal, we want to make sure on a monthly basis, we're having consistent revenue coming in. We're having that consistent income. So that creates that consistency in your business. And it's not like one month is really good, and then the next month is not. And so every single month I want to be able to see that I'm selling, my goal. This would be obviously my goal. And I have to tell you guys, one of the things here is you're not going to know exactly what the exact number is going to be. I know this is really hard for me and my bookkeeper. For those that don't know, we work with Evolved Finance. Parker is our incredible bookkeeper. He's actually coming out with a book soon, so I'll be telling you guys more about that book. But he told me it's not going to be exact, Anna. Like, you may not know, I'm not going to sell exactly 25 of my digital products. And so I got to pass that on to you guys as well too. You're not going to know exactly what it's going to be, but having a plan is going to help you. Having a plan is going to make it easier as you go month to month to month. So knowing that your goal, and this could be, by the end of the year, maybe you want to be making 10,000 a month, or, maybe it's even more than that. And then maybe this is your 6-month goal, but plug in your different products here. So I think of it in kind of like levels, like the first thing I want someone to buy, the second thing, and then the third thing. And so you can plug that in here, and then you can change the number that you want to sell. And then you can kind of see what that monthly revenue is. And so then you can start to see, like, even if you're just selling one product and you're in the very beginning, you can see what you need to be, the number that you need to make on a monthly basis. So that's a really handy spreadsheet. I've already done that for 2024 for my revenue goals. The second thing that I do is I update my annual launch calendar. So this helps me look at the whole year, and it helps me see when I'm going to launch certain things. And so for me, it's really helpful to see when, like, kind of maybe those big launches are going to be, and when those maybe smaller launches are going to be. And so for me, I try and take summers very, like, as little work as possible in the summer, because I just want to enjoy summer. So I really look at that and plan that. So June, July, and August, I try and have, like, July break. I try and do very, very little. I might run, maybe a little flash sale, maybe a live webinar. you probably won't see me do a live webinar. You know, I could do a really easy summer sale with, you know, some very simple emails, things to kind of keep my business running, but nothing where I need to do a launch or Facebook Lives or what. You won't see me do a webinar in the summer. It's not going to happen. There's too many other things happening when you have a few kids, and it's crazy. So the other thing then is I'll plan more of like the bigger launch months. So for us, you know, September and January are always like really good months for us for coaching, because that's when people kind of want career change. They want to do something different. So I'll plan out in the calendar, you know, I have notes here, like one big launch per quarter, filling in other months with smaller launches, remembering to plan flash sales and Black Fridays and special small promotions, making sure I'm having fun. I didn't say that in the beginning of this, but that's how I'm planning 2024. It's like, it has to be fun or I'm not gonna be doing this. Small means less promotion. Large means that you have to build kind of like that 90-day promotion and build up to open cart. And then making sure that you're building in breaks and creative time. So if I have like a big promotion, like if I'm launching career coach certification, that's a big one for us. And so there's a lot that goes into that. And so I do that every 6 months. I can't do that more than 6 months because it just takes so much from me. There's just a lot that happens in those launches. And so I plan those out, you know, every 6 months. And then figuring out like what that flow is, you know, I have it figured out like when I'm going to do planning workshops, like I'm going to do a planning workshop in December. You guys are all going to be there, right? And so that's on my marketing calendar. I'm going to do another business plan in a day workshop in May. And so that's on my calendar, kind of leading into our class membership. And then I have the 2 career coach certification launches in March and September. So that's how I kind of plan the big picture. So I can kind of see the full picture of my business. I can see when our launches are going to be. That helps me then set my revenue goals. And then that helps me make the more detailed plan on how I'm going to reach those goals. Because I know then when those big rocks are going to be in the year. After that, then we create our financial forecast. So by this point, then I kind of know what I want my monthly revenue to be. I have set my revenue goals, and then I can go to this. This is the one I'm using, or I'm going to share with you today. Our bookkeeper has a different one that we use that's more specific for the work that we do with him. But this is all you need when it comes to creating out a business plan for your year, a budget for your year. So basically on the left side here, you just kind of list out all of those things that you're going to sell for the year. You know, maybe there's something you're launching, maybe you're doing affiliate income, maybe you have physical products, whatever it is that you're going to be selling. And then this would be at the top would be the things that you're going to sell on a monthly basis. So maybe I have every single month I'm selling a digital product. You know, I'm selling it for $200 and I'm going to sell 25 per month. And so that's 5,000. So I'm going to put that in there, right? Of how many I'm going to sell on a monthly basis. Then when you're doing launches, we have this section. So obviously, when I'm doing career coach certification launch, there's going to be a higher influx of revenue on those months. And so that's how I map those out. So I can kind of see when that extra income is going to be coming in. And then on the bottom, it's really important to figure out what your expenses are going to be. And so these are all, I think maybe it was you actually asked me, like, what are the common expenses for running a coaching business or for running a business? So these are a lot of the common expenses that we see. And so you want to plan out ahead of the year. You want to plan out, you know, how much you're going to spend, if you're going to spend any money on advertising, or maybe later on in the year, you know, you're going to start with no advertising the first 6 months, and you're going to add in advertising later on in the last half of the year. All those expenses, you know, accounting, if you're working with a bookkeeper, you know, any sort of education expenses, any sort of meals, office expenses, paying yourself a salary as well out of your business, your telephone, your internet, a virtual assistant, any sort of travel you do. This is where you want to kind of map it out. Even if you don't even have a business bank account yet, we're still going to map this out. So we can kind of see what is that income that we need to make for the year so that we can make sure that we're affording all of our expenses and making a profit. So per our bookkeeper, 30% profit is kind of the goal. And he talks all about that. He has like a whole podcast that you should be listening to if you need more help with like bookkeeping and like managing your books. But this is a pretty, this is a 6-figure revenue business. If you kind of look at these numbers here and some kind of expenses that you could estimate, as I'm always asked for like estimates, with a very healthy 28% profit margin here. It also has some taxes in here. You're also paying yourself a salary. Obviously check with your CPA on what your tax rate is. Do not go by this. Check with your CPA on how much you should be paying yourself for a salary, because everyone is different. And then, figuring out how much you're going to pay yourself in profit as well too, because you have the company profit, but then, you pay yourself salary, you could pay yourself profit as well too. This is all questions that you can, to give you to be able to ask yourself or ask your bookkeeper or ask your CPA as well. So that gives you a good plan of the year. You're going to feel so good once you do this. Hopefully, you take this. I would highly recommend taking some time, blocking some time on your calendar and doing this. Maybe if you're interested, maybe we'll have like a working session where we do this together. Let me know if you're interested in something like that as well too. We kind of like block off that time and make sure you have your forecast done. But just doing this, you're going to feel so much better when you have this financial forecast done. The other thing that we do, does anyone have any questions so far on planning out their financial forecast, setting revenue goals? Nicole says, would love a working session. Awesome. Even meals. I'm not sure what that question was actually, but yes, plan out your meals.
Well, I mean, you also had that in there as like a business expense too. So it was kind of like, I didn't think every meal could be a business expense. Is it just, are in there certain criteria or things like that?
Oh yeah. This is where you talk to your CPA, but yeah, for sure. And mine might be a little bit on the high side too, because I work with my husband and we go out to dinner and we talk every dinner we have. We're usually talking about business and we're making sense for the business. So yes, business meetings, business meetings with clients, that kind of thing, but definitely check with your accountant for sure. There definitely are rules. And then I saw someone else. Do you recommend a good bookkeeper as your first hire? I did hire a bookkeeper and a virtual assistant were my 2 first hires back in when I quit my day job, I think 2014, 2015. Those were my first 2 hires. So yes, I would recommend that. You can figure out QuickBooks by yourself if you want to. There was a year where John and I did our books by ourselves because we were kind of in the middle of bookkeepers. It's doable. It can be done just using QuickBooks and doing it yourself. But eventually you do want that bookkeeper who can help give you those amazing reports every single month to help you keep an eye on your business. And I know I definitely recommend Parker's company, but his minimum is 6-figure businesses. So get to that 100K revenue level and hire him immediately, like immediately. Where can I find the launch calendar template? Is it not in my, it should be right here, update annual launch calendar. It should be right there for the template. Okay, so the one thing, thanks Ashley. Yep, Ashley's got you covered. Wave apps. Ashley says it's super easy as well. Nicole had a business meal meeting last week. Awesome. I mean, it's really fun to be able to go out with clients. I know when I was in London, I met a couple of our class members and I was like, I'm paying. Like it's like business expense. Like, it's super fun to be able to meet your clients and connect with them in person, especially when you've been doing virtual meetings. So come meet me, come meet me in Europe and we'll go out. I'll treat you. Okay. Oh, Ashley says Wave Apps is free, so that's awesome. Okay, so the one thing I didn't mention that probably should have been at the very beginning of this list is my secret Pinterest vision board, because I'm getting into a lot of detail about finances and revenue and marketing, but the very first thing, and the thing I continually am adding to every single day, is my secret Pinterest board. So every single year, I create a new secret Pinterest board and I start pinning things to that board. I pin affirmations, I pin quotes, I pin visuals, whatever I want my year to look like, whatever I'm working on. I just, oh, Ashley, okay, so this is fun. I just started pinning 10K training plans on my Pinterest board this morning. We're in Athens, Greece. And Ashley asked where we are. We're in Athens, Greece. And there was a 5K the other day and they were doing a 5K and I just joined it, even though it was like a spur of the moment decision. I just jumped on. It's in my Instagram stories under Athens on Anna Runyon. And that made me be like, oh, cool. I want to do a 10K in another European city that we're in. So I just pinned like 10K training plans. So every day now when I look at my 2024 Pinterest board, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be training for that 10K, right? Like this is how many miles I'm supposed to be running. So when you have that habit of looking at your vision board every day, it kind of reinforces visually what you want that year to look like. The other thing I did in September, I started reading. I started soaking up personal development books, goals books, just kind of like getting myself ready for the year again. Just in September, I read an old one, but it was really good. The first time I had read it, it's called Goals. I think there's an exclamation point, actually. Oops. It was on Audible by Brian Tracy. Over the last year, back in February, I read the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, and that was really good. Then the Success Principles, that's one of our recommended reading books that I highly recommend too. So those are to give you some ideas. It could be any book, but that just kind of got me excited about planning again and goals and my vision, because so much for all of us, so much has changed over the last few years. And then for me, a lot has changed over this last year. I've completed a lot of goals. I'm living in like, I'm working from Athens, Greece, right? Like that's a big change. And so I really had to kind of, and still am reanalyzing what the future is for our family. Someone asked me on the webinar last week, what the plan is like for us, where we're going to live. And I'm like, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm planning with you guys. Cause I don't know yet. So I need this just as much as you guys, for the plan and what's next as well, personally and professionally. So soak up personal development books. If you guys have suggestions about goal books and personal development books, like share that in our Facebook group, share that in the chat right now. And just soak up knowledge, whether it's like audiobooks, whatever book that you like to read. Sorry, there's a dog and a cat fighting. Oh, I'm on the balcony right now with the kids. Okay, so reading your secret Pinterest board, getting inspired about the future, creating new morning routines, night routines. I'm just kind of like getting myself ready for the new year because so much has changed. So I'm recreating, just this last week, I recreated our morning routines, our night routines, because we started a second term here of homeschool. And so kind of just recreating systems, health-wise, personal-wise, different things that I'm doing in the morning, different things I'm doing at night. And I think that's really important because I don't want to just start that on January 1st, right? Like I kind of want to build into it. So by January 1st, I feel like I'm in a groove and I'm feeling good. Updating social media goals. Okay, so let's talk about social media goals, creating your social media plan. This kind of goes with your business plan, your marketing plan. You want to create your social media plan too. We have a simple one-page social media plan and corporate rescue plan that I linked here as well too. So you do want to go through these questions every single year. Social media changes so much every single year. Just recently, we were going to do some posts and John's like, I feel like we have a video that we've done, you know, like this before. And I was like, yeah, it was an IGTV, like not a reel. Like a year ago, we were posting IGTVs. Now we're creating reels and we're relearning every year. We're learning how to post new things and what these terms mean. And so every single year, it's redoing your social media plan. What is, you know, where are your ideal clients hanging out online? Which promotional channels do you feel drawn towards? Which ones, you know, are you going to commit to and make a priority about learning for the next year as well? Because a lot of them you really just need to learn, and that will be part of your annual plan as well, as far as like how to build that engagement on that social media platform as well. But go where you feel drawn towards, go where your ideal clients are. When you go into 2024, usually there's one social media plan. Every time I ask someone, there's usually one social media plan that stands out from the rest that they really want to focus on. So go with that. Create your social media plan for the year, redo that, and then create your social media goals. And when I say social media goals, I have a content plan that I just am putting together. I hesitate sharing it with you because my social media plan, like I said, I've been doing this for over 10 years, social media for over 10 years. So I post a lot of content on a lot of different social media sites. So before I share this with you, I have to preface it by saying, if you're just starting, focus on one social media platform and do that every single day. Like I said, I don't miss a day on Instagram on my Classy Career Girl account. You will see a post, at least one story, at least one post up on my Instagram account. That is my priority. As I've had more time now over these last few months, I've had more time to do more research, to do more learning, to experiment a little bit more, to be on a lot more platforms. And so I've created this little checklist. I haven't shared this with you guys yet, but I just wanted to give you kind of a behind the scenes so you can see what I'm doing kind of on a daily basis. The green means that I posted that day. And this is kind of the list of, in an ideal day, if I have enough time, I want to be doing all of these things. And I will tell you, if I block out 30 minutes to an hour of 30 minutes mostly of uninterrupted time, I can knock out a lot of these social media posts, or I can recycle old content. So having this list helps me kind of see, okay, obviously I'm going to focus on Instagram first. That is my main priority. If I do one thing every day, you can see on Saturday, I posted absolutely nothing. Okay, it looks like I posted one thing to my Facebook group and that's it. Like one thing. But then the other days, like the weekdays, I am posting on a more regular basis. And so I kind of just go through this list. I make it green if I have posted that day. And it's kind of like my own personal challenge because then I add up at the end of every day. Okay, I posted 21 times and it kind of like, I don't know if you guys like daily challenges, but it kind of helps me see big picture then. Like, oh, okay, over this whole week on my social media, I posted over 100 times. And I started thinking about this just because there's so much, we do a lot of ads, but this is all organic. And so as you start doing ads, the more you can do organically, it helps those ads. Like for instance, if you guys found me from an ad, you may not have opted into anything, but maybe you followed me on Instagram and then you started seeing some of my stories, you started seeing some of my posts, and you started to kind of build that trust and relationship with us. And so John runs our ads. And I feel like this is kind of the thing I can do to help his ads is by posting organic content to kind of help those ads do even better. And this has been really working over this last month as we've been experimenting more with ads, and I've been experimenting more with all of these social media content channels. And so I kind of list out, okay, every day I want to post, for the year, or I shouldn't even say for the year, for this next week, because things can change even on a weekly basis. But ideally I want to be, putting something up on Instagram, putting something up, putting a pin or two. Ideally, I want to be putting, like, in an ideal world, I would love to be putting, 6 pins up, be putting a Facebook post up. My Facebook posts do automatically go from, if I post something on Instagram, it'll also post automatically on my Facebook. So that makes it a lot easier for that. I'm trying to post more in our Classy Career Builder Network Facebook group. That's been working really well, kind of like re-engaging that Facebook group. I'm experimenting with TikTok because I have the content is the thing. I have the content. And so it's really just posting it in multiple places. And then things like TikTok, it's like I'm experimenting with that too, because obviously the same content on Instagram doesn't work on TikTok. And so I'm learning that as I go. But for the time being, I'm posting a lot of the same content just to kind of start learning. And then I'm also posting more on LinkedIn, on my account, and in our LinkedIn group. And we have a Classy Career Builder Network LinkedIn group as well, if you didn't know. And then on our LinkedIn Classy Career Builder business page as well. And then a weekly podcast and Threads. I'm trying to post on Threads as well too. So don't get overwhelmed. Just kind of set your goals. This is what I was talking about, of creating your social media goals. Yours are going to look very different than mine. If you can get, there's been days over this last year where it's been like 1 post a day is all I can get out consistently, but that's all I could do. And that's what had to be done for that time period in my life. And then there's other times where I feel like I have a little bit more time. I do feel like I have more time now because I'm ahead of the US, so time wise, right? So when we're in Europe, I feel like I have the whole morning where you guys are sleeping in the US. And so I feel like I'm like a little bit ahead already of you guys. So I do feel like since we've moved here, I have a little bit of more time for social media, but just know that there are times where I am not posting this much on a daily basis, but this kind of helps you see what you could work up to. Like maybe, when it comes back to annual planning, maybe January, February, you want to be posting 2 times a day, and then March, April, you want to double it, and like keep trying to double it as you go. And as you start to get more comfortable, as you do this, you're going to increase. So I will say when I started doing this on October 15th, I was not posting as much. And so now that I've been doing this for a month, I'm starting to get a lot more habits, a lot more routines, and it's getting a lot easier to post more content on the social media sites. So it all goes back to your goals. Who has questions about social media? Yes, I like that book, $100 Million Offers from Alex Hormozi. Good. Oh yeah, that when we were talking about good book recommendations, that's a good one. That's very in detail. So I would recommend that one when you are really narrowing in on your offer and need some information. Maybe you're like preparing for a launch of an offer. I would recommend that book. When you're just kind of preparing your vision for the year and like your goals, that's why I recommend a lot of like these books that are more big picture. Okay, Work Clean, Everything in Its Place. Dan Chana is super useful. What Works, Tara McMullen is also amazing as well. Yes, picking a platform with DM capabilities. So yeah, that's a whole other section that we could talk about, of getting those leads in from DMs and using those tools for sure. Okay, so social media goals, social media plan. I'll get you guys a template. I obviously have been just creating my own template over the last month, so you guys can see behind the scenes what I'm doing, but create your own. I'll get you a template as we go. Content brainstorming. Okay, so the other thing, you're like, I'm posting on social media, but what should I post? So let's talk about content brainstorming. So when it comes to brainstorming your content, this is another thing you can do before the year starts. You can figure out what are those problems that your market is having and what are those solutions that you can come up with. So this is a template that I use. Special thanks to Stu McLaren for this great idea, because this is what I use every single year. So I've already actually outlined all of this. I'm reviewing my market research data, my surveys, and application info. So when I do sales calls, when I get applications, or when I have surveys for people who join our offers, I'm reviewing all of that, and I'm identifying like the 13 main problems that I see my clients face. And then I come up with 4 solutions for each of those 13 problems. That's 52 pieces of content. And that's how you can really plan out what that content's going to be like for the year. So you have the whole year of like problems and solutions that you can provide. So I go back to this when it comes to posting on social media, or when it comes to creating a blog post or a podcast as well. So brainstorm that the year ahead, so that you have content ideas to post throughout the year that you know your clients are going to relate to. The other thing, like I talked about, I make that checklist of what I'm going to post daily and weekly. I also create my content schedule for my launches. So when I go into a launch, the 2 types of content I'm creating are connection content. So I'm creating content about my vision, about my mission, like what's important to me, what my values are, the things that are going to allow us to build that relationship and connect. That's really that connection content. And then I also build in awareness content. Awareness content would be the content that's like why someone would want to purchase your offer. Like, why does someone need that in their lives? And so I build out that content schedule. So if I have a launch and I have, I'm kind of planning 90 days into that launch, then I kind of plan out when I'm going to be posting that content. The other thing I do is I create my calendars for product fulfillment. So this is really important. All of the offers that I have mapped out the whole year of when the calls are going to be, and it's on my Google Calendar. So our next round of career coach certification, I'm launching even in April. So it goes from like April to September. I have those calls already on my calendar, even though I have no idea who's going to be in that round. Like I won't know till March who's going to be in that next cohort of our career coach certification, but I already have it mapped out on my calendar. So that's really important to map out your calendars, updating your calendar for vacation, for travels, carving that time off, and then creating your annual plan. So this is kind of where we lead into annual planning and the 2024 annual planning workshop, because what we're going to do at that planning workshop is we're going to create this. We're going to create your annual plan. And so today was like specifically like the business planning things that you can do to help you prepare for the annual planning workshop. But at the annual planning workshop, we're going to complete this page. So I'm going to help you complete like what your 3 goals are going to be for the year. And then we're going to take that and put that into the 4 quarters. So you can have really that good view of the year and what it's going to look like. So everything we talked about today is going to help you get clarity on what that should look like for the year. From there, then we do our 90-day plan. We usually do that, in January, in the beginning of January. And then we also every month do a monthly plan as well. So these are all things I'm thinking about, my 90-day plan, January to March, and then also my January plan as well. So that's done before January hits. I block out time in my calendar for weekly planning and review. So every Sunday, that's like already carved out in my calendar to plan out my weeks, to plan out, what the priorities are going to be for the week. And then I have an ideal work week schedule. So I know, every single week when I'm working, how many hours I'm working, ideally, what goes into those hours. Is it, some days are going to be coaching calls, Tuesdays are my coaching calls, Thursdays are my sales calls, Mondays are social media posting and scheduling, recording podcast content, creating newsletters. So I kind of have those blocks. And then I have like, no big calls or anything on Wednesdays and Fridays. So I kind of have, you can see I have it in my head, but I didn't always have it in my head. Start with a Google Calendar, And then you can kind of have those like certain plans for every single week in your ideal work week schedule. And then block out time in your calendar for quarterly reviews and planning. So if you're already in our class membership, this is already, we have this as a habit, right? Every quarter we're planning out our quarter. You kind of get into this habit. So we create the annual plan, and then every quarter we do our quarterly reviews and our planning. So that's behind the scenes of how I plan my year. Does anyone have any questions before I give you kind of like a real life example? Because Jessica, we're gonna go straight to Jessica, because Jessica had an amazing question that covers all of these things that we're going to talk about today. So Jessica, I'm going to kind of dissect your question. Are you good with that?
Yes, thank you. I was trying to come up with like a question, and I'm like, I'm just gonna tell her and she can pick out some pieces.
No, that's great. It was great because everything you were talking about, can you tell? Do you feel better just kind of seeing this?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Because all of your questions it was like each of these different things. I'm like, oh, she needs this thing and this thing and this thing. And so going through this checklist, especially because this is mid-November, right? You have time to kind of go through this and to create the plan. And so hopefully you'll have a much more organized year to help you reach your goals. So a couple things. So I took out, and this is the coaching part, right? So I can talk, I can teach, I can train, point you to plans and everything, but this is the fun part, right? This is like actually applying what you learn and breaking down a specific question, which is also going to help other people too. So thank you, Jessica, for asking your question, because I know it's going to help other people as well. So I kind of took your question, your big question, and split it into smaller pieces for us to kind of analyze how to do this planning for the year to set you up for success. So the first one was, you made a statement that you said you want to make a full-time salary, not a side hustle money in 2024. So here's where that comes into play. When we do our annual planning workshop, when we take our annual plan and we split it into those 4 quarters, what I recommend doing financially is we have one goal. So by the end of the year, either there's like a total dollar amount in your business that you want to be making, or there's a monthly revenue amount that you want to be making. So one of these goals should be kind of like that financial number. And this requires you to look at to do your forecast, right? To look at your budget, to look at your expenses, to look at your goals, to look at like, what would be a successful year, especially if you've had years that haven't been what you wanted them to be. What would be exciting by December 31st, 2024? What have you made over the whole year, or what are you making on a monthly basis? That's what goes right here. That is one, I always recommend like a financial goal as one of your 3 goals. From there, then, say you want to make 100K during the year. From there, and that's why it's so important to use that financial projection sheet and to figure out what your expenses are too, because you might find with all your expenses, you might actually need to be making 150 or something like that as well too, especially if this is your full-time business. And then say it's 100K a year. So then what we do is down here, then we just plan, okay, quarter 1, I'm going to make 25K. I'm just making it super easy numbers, right? In quarter 1, I need to bring in 25K. Quarter 2, 25K. Quarter 3, 25K. Quarter 4, 25K. Obviously, you can change the numbers to kind of add up to a higher amount if you want, but that helps us know then, okay, when we go to 90-day planning, when we start to create your 90-day plan, we know we have to create a plan to get you to 25K of revenue. And then we can kind of split out, okay, what does that mean on a monthly basis that we need to bring in? How many products do we need to have? What do we need to sell them at? How many sales do we need to make? A lot of times you start with that, right? You start with, oh, I'm going to sell this and price it at this. Well, if you start there, it may not be getting you to your goals of what you actually want to make for the rest of the year. So that's how I recommend that piece, because that really is I want to quit my day job. And by the way, that's why I created Corporate Rescue Plan, because I was the employee and I wanted to be the entrepreneur and had to kind of build up to that, right? Like, I didn't just quit my day job, but I had that income coming in. I knew I had a dollar amount in my head already that I knew if I can just get to this monthly revenue, then I'm going to quit my day job. And I was actually like on track to that monthly revenue. And then I got pregnant. And so then I extended it by 9 months so I could take a maternity leave, and then not come back after those 6 weeks. So life, right? Life happens, but at least we can have a plan, and know like what that dollar amount is. I think that's the biggest thing is really knowing what you want to be making. And then we can talk about the plan to make that happen. So that's the first part. Does that help?
I think that helps a lot because I really was in the mentality of side hustle money. Like that was the goal. Like, and I just need to switch that because I kind of just like stopped thinking about that, but didn't switch. I like how you have it broken down.
Yeah, this is your full-time thing. And I'm gonna go to your last part because you wrote a lot. And then at the very end, you said this: I can be a successful business owner and an awesome mom. And I was like, that's it right there, right? Because that actually comes first. And that's why I love the Pinterest board, right? Like I want you, or a vision board if you like the physical board, like I want you to, this is what's on my Pinterest board is like pictures of families on the beach of Europe, right? Like pictures of like people having fun, this is not the main thing, right? I do this and obviously I love it. I get to work with you guys. I love my career. I love my job. I love what I get to do, but it provides for my family and it provides, the ability to have the time with them and to make the memories. And my daughter and I spent all day today. We went shopping, we went to H&M and she got ice cream and we went out to lunch and we just had a day. And then I'm here with you guys, doing my work. So I think it's important to have, and that's why I say that, like, that's why those things on your vision board. So, of course you can be a successful business owner and an awesome mom, like pin people who you admire on your Pinterest board, pin other people who are doing that. I know Ashley has a picture of John and I on her vision board because I've seen it. So whoever inspires you, take pictures of, take those are the visuals, other people with smiling and happy and doing the things that you want to be as well. I think that's where you can start to see, like, you have to want it, right? You have to want to not just have the side hustle and have this be your full-time thing. What is it going to provide? What is it going to make possible for you? And it's not going to be easy. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but there's going to be those hard times, but you're looking at that vision and there's a reason, and there's a lot of people that you can help too with when you go all in, right? And you make that commitment to go all in to your goals as well too. There's products and offers and things in you, that you haven't even like created yet that you get to be a part of to help other people. So that was one question. And then we made the big picture about the vision. The second question was, how do you transition to group coaching that is on my schedule where I feel in charge versus the unpredictability of when I'll have my next one-on-one resume client? Because when you post on social media, you get too many clients. It's not a problem, right? But then you stop posting because you have too many one-on-ones. So this goes back to the plan as well too. This goes back to the launch plan for your year. So you're actually, before the year starts, find some time. Maybe it's not the busy time with kids or something. Maybe the kids are still in school. Carve out a week where you're going to actually have your launch for your group coaching program. And then group coaching, you guys, I could talk about group coaching all day. I love group coaching because you can set the schedule. So there's a reason that this this time doesn't work for everyone. There's a lot of people who aren't here today because this is not a good time for them. If it's not a good time for you and you're here, thank you, because this is a good time for me. And that's how I have to schedule calls right now. Luckily, I can schedule them later on at night now. But you have to make it work for you. So my first group coaching calls I did at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. And because that was when I got home from my day job. And so it was after work, but the time worked for me. And I continued actually that time because it was actually a really good time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. My daughter was going to bed. This was when she was like a newborn. And so she was actually going to sleep at that time. And so it worked really well for my schedule. That's why I like group coaching. So go into your calendar, find like a time in your week that's good for you. And that's when your group coaching program is going to be. And your clients, you know, if they want to come to that and work with you and get you at a more affordable rate than your one-on-one, they're going to come to you because you're, you know, it's easier for them to work to pay you for that. And so they're going to make that happen. I look at the people that are here right now who you make it happen, that are here right now, because this is the time that I'm here. This is the time you're here, Jessica, right? Because I set this time, I said, I'm going to answer your questions. You come to this is when the call is going to be. And so do what works best for you. Put it into your schedule now. That is the one good thing about planning ahead is that 2024 doesn't have much on it right now. If you're like me, there's not too many appointments and things on it. So you can really look ahead right now and block out that time. This is when, you know, Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, this is when my group coaching program is. And going back to the launch plan that we talked about, the launch calendar, you can say, I'm going to launch my group coaching program. If this is your main thing, and you want to be doing group coaching and less one-on-one, then I'd probably recommend doing like kind of like the one big launch per quarter. You can do a beta launch to get it started. You could even do like, you know, a discounted price, you know, for the first people that purchase in 2023, you know, in 2024, the price is going up or something like that. And then launch it quarterly if this is the main thing that you want to be growing. And then you can fill in with smaller launches. Maybe you do take, maybe you have, you know, for our coaches in our certified career coach program, I do recommend knowing how many one-on-one spots you have available and you can take. And so for a lot of our coaches, 4 one-on-one clients is kind of like that max. They can't do more than that. Or there's kind of like a burnout is what I see from working with a lot of coaches. Other coaches, you know, it's 2. For me, it's like 1. I can maybe handle, I don't have any one-on-one clients right now. I can maybe handle 1, I don't know if I can handle 2 because I give so much, right? And I've now built up like my scalable group programs, to kind of replace that one-on-one income. So I don't need the one-on-one clients. But when I was just building the group programs, I still did need that one-on-one client income coming in, but I knew my max. And so you just have to look at your calendar and be like, okay, I could handle 3 clients a week and 3 is my maximum. I'm not going more than that. And then your monthly forecast, then when it comes, you want to fill this out. Go to the 3 product page and fill this out so you know whatever your max is. What is your max of one-on-one clients? Do you know? On a weekly basis?
Depends, but probably 4 is good.
Okay. So yeah, you just fill this in then, and then when you get to 3, you can say, I have 1 more spot. When you get to 4, you're sold out, join my group coaching program. And you already have that in your calendar because you have already blocked out the days where you're going to do your group coaching program. So creating that launch plan, what?
Like, I love how you just said, like, and just join the group program instead. Like, I have this very scarcity mentality of like, turn them away and then they're gone forever. But I've been doing this for so long, like they're not, like other people will come.
Yeah. And a lot of people will love your group program because there's a community, there's other people. I mean, look at the comments right now. Like how you're like I'm reading every comment Ashley has, right? Because she's smart and she always provides like additional feedback to what I say. She like adds on to it, right? Like having a group is really valuable. And can provide, like, other people can be accountability partners with each other. They can support each other. And so I think, yeah, that's a mindset shift of like group coaching is really valuable. There's that group. If I am gone for a day or two, like someone else will pop in and answer a question, and that's a better answer than sometimes I even have, so yeah, I just have a different view. I think group is really, really valuable. I love being in groups as well too. There's a time for one-on-one, but there's times where you do want that like group feeling as well too. Predictability, yeah. So predictability comes with the monthly income. So that's where knowing what you want to make on a monthly basis, having it outlined of your different products, doing that 90-day plan, knowing when you're going to beta launch and when you're going to have your normal launches. And then, yeah, I would limit the one-on-one clients. Do what you need to have that cash flow coming in to start to reach those goals, but then build up the group program for sure. Your other question was, I'm craving a sales flow that equals a salary, not me turning the faucet on and off. So this was funny because I turn the faucet on and off for breaks and for summer. So I'm okay with that. Because if I didn't, I would burn out. So maybe that's another mindset shift as well too. I mean, you have kids too, so summers are crazy, December's crazy. There's kind of the times in my calendar where I don't want to do sales calls. I can't do sales calls. I don't want to do a webinar. And then there's something about September hits and I'm like, it's planning season. Like I want to do a webinar. I want to talk about planning. You're going to see me a lot right now, right? Because I'm all over. This is our time, right? Even John said, this is planning season. This is our time. This is our time. This is our on time. And then we will take breaks. So I think it's okay to have, when you have your group coaching program coming in, the revenue coming in though, I think that's what you need, is to have the consistency in revenue so that you can take breaks maybe from one-on-one. And then, if you have a summer, maybe you don't take one-on-one clients for the summer and you just rely on your group coaching income. And that provides enough income for you to get through the summer. And then you kind of like relaunch maybe your one-on-ones in September or something like that. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that's really helpful. I think the mentality of I'm in control of the faucet,
Yeah.
is very important.
Yeah. And for us, I mean, for me, it could be maybe I post less on social media, or maybe we stop running ads. I've taken breaks from podcasts for months at a time because I just was tired and I didn't want any more, I needed a break. So I think it's okay. I think, yeah, you're in control, you're in charge of that. And then eventually you can build up to having those ads run. So, even when I went on maternity leave, back in 2014, I had ads running to my coaching application. So when I was done with maternity leave, or when I felt like I was ready to take calls again and to take clients again, I had a list of people who had already applied that I could reach out to. So you can have that faucet going like in the background once you start to get to the ads part, as well too. And then when you're ready to kind of come in, you can do that as well too. But I think recurring revenue, I think your group coaching program is a good idea to help you get the monthly revenue coming in. Yeah, and then you said, I've yet to really launch your membership. It's been sitting on for 3 years. So this is the year. Right now, like putting the dates in your plan, in your calendar, putting the goal number. How many people would you love? Do you want to do a membership or a group coaching program, or do you have a thought?
It's that's an online portal,
Okay.
ready for them. Like everything is there. And then I was going to add the monthly me in person, or virtual
Yeah.
to it.
So it's kind of yeah, I would consider that group coaching for sure. Because they get access to you. To me, a membership would be, maybe they get less, maybe they just get your content on a monthly basis. But if you're involved and if you're coaching and if you're interacting with people, then to me, that's group coaching. And a lot more valuable too, right? They can actually get their questions answered. So how many people would you love to have in this membership?
I just need like a couple to start. Like, this is
Okay.
where I'm at. Like,
That's a good start.
I mean, I would love hundreds. Like,
Okay.
I think that I just need to, like, I see you and I'm like, we started our business around the same time. And I get into this trap of like, I wasted a lot of time not doing things on my business when I could have, but I was doing different things in my business and different things with my family. And I just feel like I need to switch to a more revenue making goal.
Yeah. I think the main difference is you probably stayed at one-on-one and I started building like the groups and the membership, right?
Right.
Because I stopped I realized I actually really love coaching and communities and memberships. So there was a point where I started focusing on that more than building in like the one-on-one as well too. So all that to say, there's nothing wrong with that. You've probably helped a lot more people one-on-one than I have, you know? So
I mean,
there's
I've
nothing
helped
wrong with
thousands of people, like over 5,000 people. Like and I think I did not charge enough for a lot of it. And it's just sort of like, okay, like it is what it is. So I have all this great experience, all these great resources, this content. So now it's time to shift those things, not even necessarily what I have, but in how I present it to people and talk about it to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really just have the three options. I mean, that's why the three different, the template of the three different products here, that's what I would focus on, like having kind of like three different things. So, when you have a sales call with people, you can kind of go through each of these things. These are my options. If you want to work with me, we can do one-on-one. That's my most expensive option. I also have a group coaching program, and then I have a digital product that it's a self-study program that you can go through yourself. So your group coaching, I love that you said you wanted hundreds. I heard you say that. So let's put that as the goal. That's where we're going. That's the vision, right? You get to help hundreds of people. You get to have this community. But to start with, we just need a couple. And I think that's a great plan. You just need a couple people to start with. You probably know people that you've worked with in the past. Maybe they don't need to work with you one-on-one. They just need they have a couple questions for you on a monthly basis, but they don't need to meet with you for an hour every single week. I'd reach out to people I've worked with in the past that maybe need just some hand holding on a monthly basis on a lower price point. They can get a discount. This is your beta. I have a template in the membership I can share with you afterward. I'll post it in the class Facebook group of how I've done like a beta, like the script that you can use as well too. But that's what I would do. Just get it started. You just need a couple people.
I think that's awesome. I think that the shift that I've realized as you were talking is I have been very fortunate to have almost all referral clients and repeat clients, and I have not had to advertise for my business for the status that I was comfortable with my hours.
Which is great, by the way.
Which is amazing. And where I got stuck is now if I want to shift this, I need to tell people about it, and I need to be excited about it and be very clear on what works for me and how it benefits them.
Yeah, exactly. And you have so much market. I always tell people to start with one-on-one coaching. I mean, your market inside and out. You probably know what they're thinking before they even talk. That's why you're really good at the sales conversations. You're really good at helping them. You know your market. And so I did one-on-one coaching for many years too. And it was just a very easy transition because I knew them so well. I knew what they needed. And so I think you'll find that too. It's just a matter of putting that launch. It's doing what we're talking about, the annual planning. It's putting the launch date in your calendar, creating your goal of how many people you want in that, and setting that date for when the best time is for you every single week. And then when you get on those sales calls, you know, that's an option for people. Or if, go back to people who said no for your one-on-one, maybe it was too expensive for them. Then you could reach out to them and say, hey, guess what? I have this new offer. People love new. People love new. That's why you got class upgrades, new class upgrades, right? Like people love it.
Awesome.
You want to know, right? New, what's
Awesome.
new, right?
Yeah, this is awesome. I really, really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Well, I love that you asked the questions, because there was so much tie-in to what we were talking about too, when it comes to planning too. So it all related so well. Ashley also had a question. Do you recommend doing group programs in cohorts or as a membership? Ashley, you know, I have both. So this is a hard question. Okay. I love both. So I love having a membership that's ongoing. There's no start or end date, because for what we were talking about with Jessica, for recurring revenue, that's been huge for us, right? There's payments coming in on a monthly basis. It's been very consistent, secure. It's as far as like supporting your family goes as a business owner, it's just very nice to have that recurring revenue coming in on a long-term basis. I've had a membership since 2016, 2015. So
yeah, you actually had a couple of them before I
Yeah.
joined, because I joined CRP first. Back when it was just CRP, not class.
yeah, so so before my daughter was born, 2013, I had the Get Ahead Club for $10 a month to come listen to me interview a guest expert, because I was not the expert back then. I was just interviewing authors for $10 a month. I quit that one because it was like plateauing. And then I had Corporate Rescue Plan, which was a membership. I had Love Your Career Formula, which was its own membership. Then I know many of you guys have been around when we combined it all to make it class. So now I just have that one membership. So I love that as far as just consistency goes. And I know every month I'm showing up, and we have, you know, that community. But I also really love cohorts, and I love cohorts because there's a start and stop. So it makes launching really easy, because when I'm on a sales call, I can be like, you know, orientation starting on Tuesday. Like you have, the deadline is Sunday. I got to get you in on Sunday, because we're actually starting orientation on Tuesday. We have a live call, the group's starting. I mean, it's like a built-in, it's starting. There's a group that kind of goes through it together. For those of you guys who've done career coach certification, there's this bonding. Everyone's going through it together. I love having graduation at the end. I love that part of it, where there's a group kind of really getting to know each other and going through it together. So there's something special about that. But I honestly would do both, because for those of you guys who graduated from career coach certification, can you imagine if we didn't have class and it was just after you graduate, you're just done, and there's no way to like still hang out
I mean, like a
together,
lot of other coaching programs that people go
Right?
through.
right? You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. So I really like them both. I'm really glad I have kind of them both. It makes marketing, it makes launching, like now in my calendar, I know, like even when we're planning our travels, September, October, we stayed in like one place for all of those 60 days, right? We didn't travel. We hardly did any sightseeing. It was like the best 2 months ever, because it was so low key. It was so relaxed, because I was on sales calls a lot. We were marketing, we were launching. And then now, is busy. We're like traveling way too much. I don't know what we were thinking. We're going to Crete, Greece on Thursday. And then a week later, we're going to Barcelona. And then a week later, we're going to Valencia, Spain. And then we stay there for for a month. But back to the cohort thing and the launching thing, I know when I'm launching in March or April, we're going to be in one place, right? Because it's a busy season. And so it just kind of like, it kind of helps your calendar when it comes to like launching, because you know when things are going to be busy. But then with if you have the membership, you can have sales whenever, you can open doors, close doors. Black Friday, we can open door. We're not opening doors on Black Friday, but like, you can plan them on a regular basis. Even if you need an extra cash flow income, you can open doors. It doesn't have to be this like, we all start together October 1 kind of thing.
Yeah, because I've kind of been thinking about because I need to get back to one-on-one, because I did kind of try to skip past that step. So spoiler alert, don't do that. Period. End of statement. End of story. I have learned my lesson after about 1.5 years of doing this.
Well, it just goes back to the it set the template, right? So figure out what that magic number is. For you, maybe it's just one, maybe it's two, because I know like, when you do have a client, you get a lot of ideas from those clients. And that's, another reason why you want clients, right? Because you learn a lot from doing one-on-one too. So just figure out what is that magic number that, is still providing the income that you need, that you're still enjoying it. But don't give up, on your building out the membership and your digital product as well too. It can all flow together, because some people will want to pay you what the highest price point you have. They're like, give me the top, right? Like I want to spend the day with you. I want to spend, the weekend with you, right? And then other people,
that
DIY is
could be a thing too. Yeah. But like the question I had too earlier, and then you didn't quite scroll all the way up to it yet, but was like,
I was
if you've
about to see
got
it.
the for free, like if say my max is probably 2, if we're being fully honest, is because with the one-on-one I want to do, I want to kind of roll up some actual implementation hours, since I am, I'm the tech coach. And I know that's not everybody's forte, but I don't want that to kind of halt any progress that can be made. So obviously with that hours commitment, or that project hours commitment, because it's really more project stuff, is okay, if I start, month and I have 2, and then one like graduates out of one-on-one, because that's a goal I have, is like, I like for people not to necessarily, need me to always hold their hand. I'm here if they want me, but like I want to educate them. I want them to learn enough to where if they want to, they now can actually confidently go hire a virtual assistant that's going to know the full scale of their business, or they'll be able to get, more out of them, because that person might have more hours available than I do.
Yes.
But it's like, dropping down one slot, is it basically you just have 2 payments, like for that month, like you collect 2 payments per client, and then if one drops off, you switch into like, hey, wait list, I have a spot open kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, how does that kind of management work?
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be, when you do have a spot open, that's, hey, here's my application. I have a spot open. It's kind of like when I would launch certification, like we're starting soon, or this spot is open for the next 90 days. Or you could say starting January, I have a spot open. I'm doing calls right now to find, the right person. I only coach 2 people. I only have 2 spots left. I mean, let people know that you only have 4 spots. You only have 2 spots. You're not dying for clients. You know what I mean? Like you have these, you only have a certain number of spots. So that's kind of, and I think that goes back into the planning part too, is this is a great time to do what you're doing, Ashley, which is just thinking through all this stuff and thinking, okay, what would be the best? What is going to help me reach my goals? What is the amount of one-on-ones I can handle? When more like Jessica, when more kept coming to her, she could start to turn them away, or turn them, to their group coaching program, or they can add their name to the wait list for when you could have a wait list, Ashley, like when you do have more spots available, reach out to them. And, you know, and let them know that you have spots, but this goes to like your ideal work week. This goes to fulfillment, because it leads to, I know, like when you overdo it, when you have too many clients, it gets to that burnout. It gets to not being happy and fulfilled. And then you don't have time to do your marketing, and then you don't have time to do your sales calls. And then you don't like your business anymore, and you're not going to that vision, and you're unhappy and stressed and not taking care of yourself. And it's kind of like, it kind of goes, right? And it's all from not knowing what that max one-on-one client load is, especially if you're an introvert like me. Like I have learned, if I overdo how many one-on-ones I have and then add that to sales calls, it's too much. Because I can, as an introvert, I can only handle talking one-on-one with people for so long before my brain literally stops working. So did I answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Overall though, I think all this stuff, like it's thinking through it right now, making that plan and putting it down on paper, doing the checklist, right? Going through all of these things, really knowing what you're going to sell. If you do all of this, you're going to have so much more clarity, so much more confidence. You're going to be able to hit the ground running January 1st as well too. And it's going to make 90-day planning so much easier. Like we've just started. For those of you guys who've been around here for a while, you know, this is just the beginning of just really starting the plan. And there's just so much more that comes with it as well too. So make sure if you joined us late, make sure you have coaching week on your calendar. Make sure you've joined us in the 2024 planning workshop Facebook group. That will be opening December 3rd through December 11th. So that's our planning week. We're going to do the workshop on December 5th at 8 a.m. Pacific. And then I'll be doing plan reviews and coaching. So very much like Ashley and Jessica were asking great questions today. We're going to do a lot more of that through that week. And then also we're all going to fill out, so you can be getting started for the planning workshop. You can start to look at, let me show you where it is on this checklist, where it says create your annual plan. If you click that takes you to our whole file for our 90-day planner. So to prepare for the workshop next, really go through this page, the looking back. That's going to make the workshop a lot easier. Do your vision journal, do your vision board. That's going to make the workshop a lot easier. And then together, this is the annual plan. This is the page that we're going to have done by the end of the workshop. And you're going to have a lot of clarity. So everything that you've done so far, all the thinking that you're doing, all the planning that you're doing, all the financial forecasting you're doing, all the numbers, figuring out, all of that is going to make December 5th, our 2024 planning workshop so much better for you. You're going to have so much more clarity. I'm excited to review your plans then during that week. Does anyone else have any more questions today? Oh yeah, Jessica, that was me. I had no plan, burned out, just hit pause. I'm re-emerging and getting excited. Yes, we have to get excited. And I've definitely been there too with the burnout. And I think, yeah, it's exciting for what you're planning to do for the future. Okay, I think I answered everyone's questions. Thank you guys all for being here. On the count of 3, let's say 2024. I'm going to put you guys on gallery. So we're all going to unmute and we're going to say 2024 together. We're going to get excited. Right, Jessica? 1, 2, 3. 2024. Yay. I think a lot of you guys did not unmute. We're going to do it one more time. Is everyone busy? Okay. 1, 2, 3. 2024.
2024.
Woo!
I love it. Awesome. Okay. Well, I will see you guys. Nicole's chatting it. Okay. That counts. I'll see you guys at the planning workshop. See you guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.